Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Teslagrad. Teslagrad is a 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformer. Oh no, not another one. It's weird that back when I was doing these videos in 2011, 2012, every second indie game that came out was either a tower defense game or a 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformer. And I expressed some fatigue with them. I was like, Jesus Christ, can we just get like an original concept? Well, now every second indie game that comes out is a survival sandbox slash zombie game, and I'm fucking thrilled to be playing a beautiful looking 2D side-scrolling platformer. How quickly the times can change in this volatile niche of our industry. In any case, Teslagrad came out in December, one of those games that I meant to check out, but you know, around the holidays, times get tight, and you don't really have time to maybe play everything that you want to play. I know Josh has been championing this game forever. I believe he played it on the 52-hour stream back in June. That was maybe May. So I figured, why not check it out? It's good. It breaks my brain. I have problems with it, but I have way more positive things to say about it than negative things. We are going to start. This is my existing save after about an hour. If you've played it yourself, you're probably like, there's no way that's an hour of play. I'm really bad, okay? I get lost a lot, but I'm going to start a new game. The reason being that I am going to be encountering a lot of puzzles, and knowing what's going to come in those puzzles is going to be beneficial for me. The very first thing you will notice about Teslagrad, and it's a very positive thing, I think, is that it has this really kind of unique hand-drawn aesthetic to it, and I think it works really well. I think it's a gorgeous-looking game, especially the character models. The backgrounds, they look good as well, but the character models in particular are fantastic, and the soundtrack works very well as well. From an audiovisual standpoint, it's a very good-looking and good-sounding game for sure, and it's also got a very unique kind of aesthetic and in a very unique setting as well. I don't know like the exact basis of the story, whether this takes place in what appears to be, you know, like 1950s Russia or something like that, or some other Eastern European nation. But quite clearly, you know, the secret police are coming to, you know, capture me, and it appears that my father, who probably brought me home, has also been killed. And we're being persecuted for something, and I'll spoil it. We're being persecuted because of, it seems at least, the implication is because of our father's scientific work, which is maybe, I don't know, unholy, although that doesn't really make sense in the context of, you know, communist Russia, but again, maybe this takes place in a fictional land. I don't know. In any case, it kind of starts out being a little limbo-y. We're playing as the son, obviously, here, but rest assured that it becomes much more, and I don't mean this, I use this comparison a lot. I don't mean this derisively or as if it's a ripoff by any stretch of the imagination. It becomes a little bit more Portal-y, but it is a physics-based puzzle platformer, but instead of your gimmick being a portal gun or, you know, a teleportation shoe, or actually that's something you do pick up, or, you know, every one of these games for at least like a couple of years, everyone was like, it's like Portal, but instead of, you know, portals, you have like a gravity well that you throw on the ground, and then you use that, and you got two kinds of gravity wells, one's positive, one's negative. It kind of does have a gimmick. Oh, I'm gonna get killed here, maybe. It kind of does have a gimmick. The gimmick on this one, though, is magnetism, and that fries my little juvenile brain and has led me to get stumped an awful lot on these puzzles. So this is very much just the prologue where they're teaching you how to play. This is one of the rare games, at least rare side-scrolling games, that I'm actually playing with keyboard and mouse, and that's because, as far as I can tell, we did get caught there. This is actually more tricky than it looks. But there's no, at least as far as I can tell, native Xbox 360 controller support. And, you know, I much prefer using the controller for platformers, but it's not a big deal. Here's the length of my preference. That actually came out sounding like something I didn't mean it to sound like. But here's the degree of my preference. Let's put it that way. If I have to manually set up my controls, I would rather just use the ones that are kind of native to the game. In any case, native to the game, coming this fall to a theater near you. Once we get through this initial prologue, we can start to have a little bit of fun with the actual physics of the game. Now, it's not a Metroidvania. At least, it's not a pure Metroidvania in the same way as like a Guacamelee or something like that. It really feels a lot like a game like Vessel, if that makes sense. It's been a while since I played Vessel. That was like the fluid gimmick Portal game. And, you know, keep in mind when I say gimmick, I don't mean that derisively necessarily. I just mean that as a descriptor. Because Portal I'm not going to necessarily say all of these games are directly inspired by Portal, but I think it's fair to say that if Portal didn't exist, a lot of these games probably would not exist as well. But there are Metroidvania elements. We've got a map that with areas that will not be accessible to us until we get new items. And we get those items by, you know, solving puzzles and beating bosses. So it's a little bit more Metroidvania-y than maybe you might think, based on the fact that I just said it's not a Metroidvania. Anyway, step one. We have entered inside of our father's laboratory here. Thank God I continued that sentence. And very, very shortly, we will have the opportunity to actually get going with some of the cool stuff that goes on here. So the game does it, you know, the very kind of Brady thing about, that's Braid as in, you know, the game Braid, not the Brady Bunch. That would be pretty crazy. But it tutorializes things in the background, which is great because it keeps things minimalistic. At the same time, it does also cloud mechanics for a while. That's fine. You know, some people are into that, some people are not. For someone like me who's a little bit slow on the uptake, it does take a little bit longer to figure things out. So, you know, you can see here, if you touch blue Robot Man, you become, you know, Super Saiyan level 3 Goku here, and then you're affected by blue things. So if I touch this guy, I get totally Eiffel 65'd, and then I can basically use that gravity well. Oh, I could have maybe taken damage there. Yeah, and then I can just, you know, solve that puzzle. And then they become increasingly complex, as one might expect. Hey, maybe we should touch this Robot Man. Oh no, I zapped myself because I'm a fucking idiot. Okay, so you know, the solution to that puzzle is obviously, you know, less is more. Sometimes you don't necessarily need to... Oh, okay. Actually, the lesson now is just relax, but, yeah, less is more. You don't always need to take advantage of the resources at your disposal. There we go, I made it through there. Now, we have another interesting puzzle here. This is kind of demonstrating the magnetism of the game. By the way, this game has, like, a few reviews on Metacritic. I can't believe no one's used the tagline yet, like, totally gene-shality, like, Teslagrad is a magnetic experience. Anyway, we're gonna come up here and we're gonna get our first kind of Metroidvania-style power-up here. So this is going to be our glove, which is extremely important for progressing through the game. So now you can see, left means I punch blue, right means I punch red. Now we can start to F around with the magnetism. So, as you might expect, you know, you can almost consider it an analog. Blue is like the north pole of the magnet, and red is the south pole. So, you know, opposites attract, and like things obviously repel. Unfortunately, I don't think I can get through here yet. Okay. So, if a block has an X on it, you can't actually punch it, so I can't do anything with these, but that block that you saw right there that I pushed up, you can do something about that. And again, you can look in the background and be like, oh, punch this with blue, and it'll go up. So they do a very good job of teaching you how things work. And this gives you all the tools that you need to solve the puzzles, although the puzzles, their solutions are sometimes a little bit abstract, and I mean that in a very positive way. You can see there's like a battery up there. Can't get that yet. Might be able to before the end of the video. And the puzzles, you know, get increasingly complex. Obviously, we're going to do just the standard rule, opposites attract, to pull those up. We'll get more and more kind of intricate systems going as we go here as well. So these flowers also accomplish basically the same thing as the robots. They push us, or they imbue us with blue power and push us upwards. So we are going to encounter basically the first kind of puzzly area of the game here. So step one, I guess we'll make that go up. And as you can see, just to set the stage for this puzzle here, there's no way I'm going to be able to jump across that enormous gap, at least not yet, with that electricity there. So we're obviously going to have to cause this platform to go down. So the way that we're going to do this, oh, that one's got an X, I can't touch it, except if I change the color on this one, again, like charges repel, so the bridge kind of comes down here. We can solve this. You get the general idea. I'm not going to narrate absolutely everything that I'm doing here, because I'm not going to say that it's obvious, but at some point, you know, you can kind of see it out for yourself. Check out the animation on the robot thing with, like, the goo inside of the head crab. I like it a lot. I really, really like the way this game looks. It's got kind of like a Tintin, or, oh god, I've gotten myself stuck to that thing. It's got kind of like a Tintin-style animation connected to it. I like that a great deal. I think this is one of the best-looking, at least one of the best-looking 2D games I've played in a long time. That's not my way of saying, you know, 2D games look worse than 3D games objectively. It's my way of instead saying, ooh, can I actually go down here? That's my way of saying it's harder to compare 2D games, 3D games. I can bring up a map with tab. Now, this is one of the gripes that I do have with the game. I think the map system doesn't quite work as well as I need it to. Can't come up there yet. I think well, this is a good example of how it's Metroidvania-y. Allow me to, you know, finish that train of thought in a second. But we will eventually get an ability that allows us to move forward through this, but we can't do it right now. So that is a fairly good example of how the game does have kind of a Metroidvania-style structure, even though it's not really a Metroidvania in the same... It's like a puzzly Metroidvania, if that makes sense. So... obviously, there's a lot of blue things here. We're gonna try to avoid the robots, because they will cause us, without fail, to actually push our same thing here. We can't get through there yet. To get pushed into the electricity, which will obviously be bad for our health. Anyway, now that I said, you know, we could let me get back to that train of thought. I've totally forgotten. No, I think what I was going to say is that, you know, the map system, I do find it a little... Ooh, that's the right way to do it. Okay. I do find it a little bit inadequate. Probably not the right word, but it's just not quite good enough or comprehensive enough for me to figure out where I'm going when I'm lost. And that's my major complaint with the game so far, is I get lost, like, all the fucking time when I play this. And I think I need to... Close enough. We'll see when he comes back. I can use this as a booster to, like, get up. There we go. I get lost all the fucking time. Probably of the... again, the roughly 60 minutes that I played so far, this is a cool puzzle. I like this one a lot, using, like, the currents of the magnets to solve what's going on here. But, I wonder if I hit this one like this. Is there a new... No. Okay. Oh, now I've done it. Can I push it? Yeah. Oh, no, come back! Oh, now I have done it. Okay. Let's try just putting this one on red again. And it worked. Okay. Yeah, of the 60 minutes that I've played, probably 30 minutes I've spent wandering, not aimlessly, with a very clear aim, that aim being, you know, figure out where to go to solve the next puzzle. When I actually know where to go, it's great. I love it. The puzzles flow really nicely. It's extremely difficult puzzle-wise, in my opinion. But that opinion probably doesn't hold that much water, because I'm notoriously bad at games of this nature. But it's really frustrating to just be wandering around and be like, I don't know where the hell to go. If you could just tell me where to, if you could put like an arrow or something, I know it takes away from the immersion of the game, but I love the mechanics so much. I just spend so much time being lost. And, you know, these are big freaking areas, as you can see. Like, I didn't look on the map right now. You can already see that we've got a pretty huge kind of selection going on here. Anyway, this is going to be probably where we'll spend most of the video, is we're going into, like, the first kind of boss fight, followed by an area where we'll get another ability. And this is really cool. I love that this game has boss fights, and they're puzzly boss fights. They're not, again, you know, Super Metroid or Mega Man style boss fights. They're more like Super Meat Boy style boss fights, weirdly enough. You know, the arena kind of looks like a Super Meat Boy style arena. Basically, we're going to get this dog to suck up the blocks, and if he sucks up 3, then he enters like an enraged state, and he'll, you know, shoot fire at us that we have to avoid, obviously. And obviously we have to avoid getting, you know, sucked into the fire on the right side of the map as well. That's bad for business. And every time that he goes through a phase like this, he speeds up the conveyor belt, which is obviously very scary because, you know, a big block hitting us can give us enough momentum to go into the fire. The physics in the game, they work. You know, I don't know if they're accurate. I don't really care if they're accurate. They're satisfying. That's the most important thing. I'd rather have a game with satisfying physics than a game with real physics that was boring. Real life has real physics, and that's not always great. You know, tell that to someone falling down the stairs. Anyway, we have now finished the second phase of the boss fight, and if we just manage to hit him with 3 more blocks, we should be good to go. The conveyor belt's really fucking moving now, though. And this stuff, like, this is where the game shines, I think. I mean, the boss fight is not necessarily the strongest part of the game I've played so far. That being said, oh, come on. That being said, it works. It works well, and I'm having fun using the mechanics in kind of an interesting way. Hey, we almost got one there. The problem is you got to get it, like, time it properly so the tractor beam's going at the same time. This one should work. Oh, come on. I'm having way more trouble with this now than I did when I did this off camera. Weirdly enough. Okay, this one may work. I probably did that one to myself. Okay. Small blocks. Small blocks are easier. Ooh, almost got myself lost in the fire there. That should have worked. Oh my god, that was very close. You know, you can see it's tense. It's not just like, not necessarily just repetition. Oh, you got it. Yeah, okay. Gave him a big one there. That came out wrong. Here we go. Maybe the small one will work. Okay, one more, and I think he'll die. I really don't want to redo this whole boss fight all over again. So if you could just eat that. Oh my god. Okay, this one is it. Nope, don't push me into the fire, please. There we go, he's dead. My lord. And if you wanted, you know, proof positive that the game has a Super Metroid inspiration, you know, that pretty much does it right there. Anyway, so, you know, we solved our first boss fight. This opens up the next area where we will start solving some real magnetic puzzles. Because what we've seen so far has definitely been, like, baby's first steps in the world of Teslagrad. And certainly you might be saying, I don't understand why you're saying this game's so difficult. It gets trickier after this point, I promise you. So, picked up our second upgrade. These are teleportation boots. Press up on the arrow keys and you can teleport. Why is this important? Because I can't freaking walk through this cage, and you want to be a little bit leery, because if you accidentally teleport into the cage, you'll get killed by the monster here. So, if this monster could actually just get a little closer to me, that would be awesome, because I'm, like, very concerned. Okay, managed to dodge him. It's a game where, and this is a point I like to bring up in every Let's Look At where I cover a puzzle platformer, is this kind of balance between, the execution skills that you need and the conceptualization skills that you need. This game requires both. You need to be, smart with your planning, but also you need to have quick reflexes for a lot of the puzzles. And I think it hits a very good, a happy medium for both of those. So we're just using our new teleportation ability, basically, to continue making our way through the world. Stories being told through these tapestries in the background. I think it's pretty cool. And I can't stress enough that the game is a joy to play just because of the way it looks and sounds. And I would go so far as to say this is probably one of the best puzzle platformers I've played in the last couple of years. It's up there with games like, the Swapper. There actually has been kind of a dearth of great 2D puzzle platformers, I think. The Swapper was really good last year. But certainly I think this is better than something like Neolumbra or, Elemental, or what's the other, like Rain? I forget what it was called. Anyway, okay, so here's an interesting puzzle. This is kind of where I got stuck when I was playing it through for myself. So again, when you're playing it through for a second time, it's substantially easier to actually it's substantially faster, at least, to get to where you want to go. So if I just come in here, I'm gonna be killed. There's just no way around it. Basically, I can try, but as you can see, it's impossible to dodge both of those guys, as far as I can tell, at least. So you kind of want to float up here and continue floating on like a Modest Mouse joint. And I don't think I can teleport through this thing. Some blocks are too thick to teleport to, but I can crush these guys for sure, just by doing this. All right, now that they're dead, what I really want to do is get that battery. The batteries are, like a collectible. I don't know if they actually provide you with any, like, tangible benefit in the game, but they are nice to get. But I've never been able to figure out how to get this one. By the way, the teleportation adds, like, a really cool kind of... A lot of the time with the puzzles, I just do trial and error, like mashing the, like, switch polarity button. Anyway, it really adds a nice element to the platforming in the game as well, because now that you can teleport and kind of wall jump and, or not wall jump, sorry, but wall hang and wall climb, it's cool, because now you've got the whole teleportation aspect as well. Anyway, let's take a look at our map. Looks like top left has an exit. Maybe we'll try to go there and see if I can't progress a little bit further into this crazy world. So I guess fuck that battery was the take-home message there. It looks like I can't get up through there yet, and that's totally fine. This is a pretty difficult platforming segment. Oh, okay, that was not very good. So you're not really getting a feel for, I shouldn't, put my words in your mouth here. But you're probably not really getting a feel for the one principal negative, which I did bring up, but that is the frustration with not knowing where to go is something that I felt in the game. It doesn't detract, booleanly from the experience. It doesn't turn this good experience into a bad one. That being said, it has colored my experience in a bit of a negative way, but I still very much think that, should I go left or should I try to go down here? I feel like I'll try to go down here. I do very much think that if you enjoy these kinds of puzzles, that was a terrible decision apparently. If you enjoy these kinds of puzzle platformers, Teslagrad is one of the best that I played in the past few years for sure. It's $10 on Steam. I would recommend it. To pull the veil back a little bit, these are first impressions videos, right? These are not reviews. So whenever I say, like, it seems like it's, like, X long to beat, what I typically do for that is I go to the site howlongtobeat.com, and, it sounds like a porn site, but it's more of a database of people that, they beat the game, and then they upload their time, or, note their time, and, how much time they took looking at extras and stuff like that, and are they a completionist, or is it a speed run, etc., etc. Unfortunately, that normally gives you, like, a really good indicator, but for Teslagrad, only one person's actually, like, denoted how long it took them, and it took them 7 hours. So, I don't know. Maybe that person's a genius and it's a 15-hour game for the average person. Maybe that person's an idiot and it's a 4-hour game for the average person. In any case, $10 is very much the standard. Oh, this is not good. Very much the standard 2D side-scrolling physics-based puzzle platformer price. That or 15. So I certainly think that if you've gone in on that value proposition before, Teslagrad is not gonna ruffle your feathers too much with that price point. So I was here earlier, and maybe this is where I can actually make some progress. So we want to wall hang here, and then just pick up this, and we'll fly over there, and then wait for this to wear off. And then we'll try this again, and I can teleport. Okay, it actually worked. And this, I think, takes us back to, like, the beginning, which is not necessarily where I want to go. This is where I kind of got twisted around in the labyrinth here. And I feel like I've just missed a door or something like that. Oh, I made it there. Maybe should not have, but that's okay. Yeah, there's like only one door, and it's in the bottom left. So I can like teleport out of here. And this is where we started, I think. Is this not? Like if I go through... I'm pretty sure it is. So if I go through like this area... I'm an idiot. Real dumb. If I go through this area again, it's gonna take me a second to get back there. I'm pretty sure we'll end up back at like the hub kind of level, and I'm sure that there's probably an area now that is possible to reach with the new teleportation skill that I found. But that's the frustrating part, right? Is that I don't know where that door is. This is something that Super Metroid suffers from as well. I hesitate to say that the game suffers from anything, but it's just. It's the same thing in almost something like I was playing The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, and I was like, I really like the dungeons, but it's kind of difficult for me to find my way to the dungeons. And, many of you out there are probably saying, but Ryan, that's the point. And yes, that is. Half of the gameplay, or, like a third of the gameplay of a lot of Metroidvania-ly structured games is, finding where you're supposed to go next, and that's half the fun. So mainly what I'm saying is, don't trust me. Just because it's frustrating doesn't necessarily mean it's unsatisfying, if that makes sense. Oh! Okay, so it turns out that was actually a really easy puzzle to solve. You just had to take the flower thing with you. Disregard all of my complaints earlier. This is a new area to me. I'm just a dummy. Hey, we got a battery here. Cool beans. And we, to be honest with you, I don't totally know what the batteries actually... accomplish. I'm not sure if they're just like a collectible that's important for whatever reason. Okay, this does take us to like the Super Metroid style like corridor going up here. Anyway, we're gonna probably call it quits on this video right here. This is Teslagrad. I'd recommend it, especially now that I've actually solved that puzzle that had me running around in circles. It's still... it's a less of a valid complaint that I got twisted around because it's a really simple solution that maybe I just overlooked. But still, if you get lost, prepare to maybe be lost for a while. But if you get lost to a certain extent, it's your own fault as well. I still think the map system is maybe a little bit obtuse. It's clear-ish, but I think it could be clearer. I know I'm a baby, but I would really love like an arrow. But apart from that, I have really nothing negative to say about Teslagrad, except that it oftentimes makes me feel like my intellectual capabilities are inadequate. In any case, if that sounds like an exciting challenge to you, I would definitely recommend picking it up. One of the best 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformers, physics-based. I don't know why I have to put so many genre monikers in there. But anyway, you know what you're getting, basically. It's one of the best of these kinds of games that I've played over the past few years. And, I played a decent amount of them, even though there haven't been all that many, at least over 2013 and early 2014 so far. But again, there will be a link to pick it up in the video description below. It's $10 on Steam. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to show your support by clicking the like button. And, of course, subscribe if you want to see more first impressions like this in the future. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.